Hey, what's up, gang? It is the Commander Smiths, and we're back for another rendition of Commander Budget.
Yes.
This time, what are we doing? What set are we working on here? We're working on
Commander Masters. And we're just going with the precons, seeing what we would do for switching some cards in, some out.
What's our budget?
And we're trying to keep it under $20.
Yeah, $20. So
$20.
But we do have the Mr.
Unlimited
section at the end. So basically, if you have no budget or you have cards and all that, I'd like to give. You have the button. Hit the good for you. Because if you have no budget, then you,
good for you.
If you're there.
So yeah, we'll give that at the end. But right now, we're just kind of going through some of the cuts we're going to make, some of the ideas. First deck we're going to start with is the Sliver Swarm. So I worked on that one. We'll have the other decks too, so you guys can check those videos out too.
Check them all out.
Check them all out. So Sliver Swarm. This one's an interesting one. Let's look at the commander really quick. So we have Sliver Grave Mother, and it's Wooburg, so it's white, blue, black, red, green. And 6/6 Sliver.
Thanks for going in order.
Yeah. Legend rule does not apply to slivers you control. That's kind of important because of Sliver Grave Mother also has the encore thing, so you could let her go to the graveyard and then do the encore stuff. So what encore is if you pay 5, you get to make a token copy for each player or opponent you have, and those have to attack each of those opponents if possible that turn. This gives each sliver card in your graveyard encore X, where X is its mana value. So the cool thing is like if you have Clot Sliver, let's just say right here, its X is only 2, so it's 2 colorless. It doesn't count the colors. It's just the X.
Oh, that's kind of nice. All right.
So you kind of go with the colorless mana is kind of nice with that. So first off, there's a couple things here. Let's go through, I guess, the slivers that I cut.
How many cards are you cutting total?
Oh, that's a good point. I have 15 total cards that I cut in this.
Getting rid of it, and then you're going to add 15 new cards in for under $20?
For under, I know. That's a lot. I'm at
all right.
1915 is my total.
Squeeze it out of there.
I had to do some shifting of a little bit of things to make this all work out. So first off, I'm going to kind of go down from top down to bottom. So my first cut is actually going to be the striking sliver. First strike is not as important what we're doing here. I don't care if stuff dies because I really do want them to go to the graveyard. So first strike is
to use that encore ability.
Yes, I want to use encore with this. So that's I guess the other idea before I get into it is there's a lot of slivers. Obviously, you can see there's 43 of them because they don't have anything that's not a sliver, and things that aren't are shapeshifters, so they can be slivers. And they aren't really, you're not doing anything with it dying. So I have some things I'm adding in here to sacrifice or utilize the sacrificing. So we'll get to that in a little bit. So striking sliver was my first one to cut out. I also cut out clot sliver because regeneration is nice, but paying 2 to do its ability is like, I don't.
Might as well encore it.
Right. Well, that is completely true. I did keep in the other. There's another one.
One that taps.
Yeah, that's easy. If you want to protect your commander.
Crypt Sliver.
Where is it? Crypt Sliver. There we go. Yep,
is that the one?
Yep, you're right. Crypt Sliver, I did keep in there because it's easy. You're just tapping it and regenerating.
Yeah.
So that one stayed. The next cut was Sentinel Sliver, because again, if they're dying and the Vigilance is nice, but the encore, I don't really care about them.
Doesn't do anything for it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like
they have triple vigilance.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter in this.
Yeah.
Another one was Venom Sliver. This is good. I like Death Touch and everything, but I was trying to get things cut out. I wanted my slivers down to in the mid.
Cut some cards somewhere.
Yeah. So exactly. I wanted my cards into the mid 30s or my slivers in the mid 30s. So I got rid of Venom Sliver because I wasn't too concerned with the Death Touch. I'm utilizing the bonuses like the 1+1 like Sinew Sliver or Two-Headed Sliver, or not Two-Headed. Was Two-Headed?
Menace.
Yeah, Menace. So that's evasion. So we got that. But I want this deck to win 2 ways. One with the slivers and one with the sacking part of it. So
Okay.
That's where I went. And then the last two was Blur Sliver, the haste.
The hasty.
They already get haste by the Encore stuff. I know your stuff you're casting from your hand would be nice to attack with, but I do have a couple.
Doesn't matter as much.
Yeah. Do have some other things that have haste in it. So I was like, this one's kind of redundant and isn't doing as much there. And then the last one was this other haste one. It's for 3, but that has all slivers have sacrifice this permanent, give target sliver 2+2 until the turn. I was just like, okay, we just need some things gone. So those are my slivers that I got rid of. I did add slivers, a couple slivers back in, I believe. We'll get to that in a second. But let's move on past the slivers. There's see how many more there are though. Like
there's a bunch there.
So this is gonna be maybe a little controversial, but I got rid of every single one of the ramp cards.
Oh my. But
I replaced them with mono rocks because then I'm not concerned about the green so much. I'm not as like, I have to have green to get these.
Okay.
So I replaced like Cultivate with Chromatic Lantern. I got Decanter of the Endless Water. We'll get to that too in a little bit.
Yeah, well, and so that's just kind of whatever choice in your, whatever you're able or comfortable with.
Right. Well, and
if you want to go green mana ramp, then you're going green mana ramp. But
that's where I was thinking with this deck is it's 5 colors. So I didn't want to be stuck with, oh shoot, I don't have a green to be able to go get my ramp. But if you have artifacts, doesn't matter what color you have, you can ramp and then it gives you other colors and stuff. So.
And also, it's not much of a video if we're only cutting 7 cards for like $8. So we got to push it to that $20 mark as best we can.
That is a very, very true statement right there. Okay, so I got rid of all 4, 1, 2, 3. Yep, I got rid of all 4 ramps there, all green 4 ramps there. And then we get down to Decimate is my next one. So I got rid of Decimate, destroy target artifact, increase or whatever.
That's old school staple, but it just doesn't pass the test now that everybody knows just to sacrifice one of them, it fizzles the whole thing.
Yeah.
Time to move on.
I got rid of Windfall because we have, I don't know, it just seemed like they shoved it in here. They're like, all right, let's it doesn't feel like it fits as well in this. So I got rid of Windfall. Cleansing.
I won't fight you.
You won't fight me on it. I like Windfall. I just...
Right. Yeah. I think it's just a different way of getting the slivers into the graveyard.
Oh, that is a good point. That is a very good point for their Encore. So maybe that one gets a nudge back in later if somebody wants to edit that in. I can see that. Cleansing Nova, we talked about that with our other decks, but mass removal for no point, like there's no benefit on your side, like destroy all creatures, unless you have the other sliver out.
If the indestructible sliver
then
was your main guy, then Wrath away.
That's how you change it. But that's not the way this deck is going. Cleansing Nova, Windfall. Okay, and then I got Icon of Ancestry. Where is that one?
That'd be an artifact.
That would be...
That's an artifact.
Yeah, where's my... Okay, there we go. This one just seemed kind of...
Meh.
Like, it's not ramp.
I agree.
I mean, you're tapping 3, and then you're looking at 3 cards, and it's like... You're giving a 1+1 bump, so it just seemed kind of dead. And then the last...
It's not needed for this tribe.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then the last thing was I got rid of... To make everything symmetrical, I got rid of 1 forest because we got rid of our ramp for these guys. We don't need as much green. So I got us down to 36 land. We don't
36 land in a 5-color deck? All right.
Yeah, I know. But we don't... Our curve is not that high. So...
That's fair.
I kind of went a little lower with that. So, okay.
That's fair.
Those are the cuts. Let's check out what the ads are for all those cuts. So
see what we're adding here.
You guys can check out. We'll have all these, the decks listed below in the video if you want to see what we added, or you can just keep watching the video over and over again. It's up to you. Either way works for us.
Up to you. Whatever you have time for, I guess.
So the first thing is, with these, look at the Encore again, just to remind you, you're making a token copy for each opponent you have, and then they attack those players. And then at the end of the next end step, you sacrifice them, okay? So let's utilize the sacrificing. So I could do Ashnod's Altar, and I could Encore something else and make more. Like if I had combo stuff going on, which I kind of do, I did add into this. You have the Mirkwood Bats. So if you're making more and more tokens, every time a token is made and leaves when you're sacrificing them, each opponent loses a life. So if it sounds silly, but let's say you made 3 slivers off of that fun encore thing.
You can pay 1 or 2 to get something cheap.
Yeah.
And then you can sack it for 6 mana and to bring something bigger out.
Or bring more. Or that's a good point.
Continue to do it.
Because it doesn't say you do this in your first main phase, like you just said. You get something that's super cheap, and then you can get something bigger or multiple things.
I get you.
So,
because I definitely squinted at it when I first saw it, but I get what you're saying. Like, it really helps out with that encore bit.
Yeah. So the biggest thing with the encore is that it doesn't say that you have to pay the same colors. Like it's colorless, which is nice. So Ashnod's Altar, I thought was going to be a pretty sweet add in this. Chromatic Lantern, I mentioned that before. That's one of our rocks that replaces our ramp stuff there. And then Decanter, Endless Water. So this gives you no maximum hand size, and then you get any color. It's a 3-drop mono rock. We had a tournament for that if you guys want to check that out. Evolutionary Leap. So you got those 3 there. You pay your green, sacrifice. Now you go find slivers to put into your hand. You're utilizing your slivers that would be dying anyways, and you're filling up your hand a little bit more. This one could be a game killer.
Going back to Leap, though, I think that's really good, too, just to get slivers into your graveyard, to get more into your hand, to encore them, to do them more. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Actually,
I think that's a good bit there.
Yep. Actually, that was that's totally what I was thinking. I'm just kidding. No, but no, I did need a lot of sacrifice, because that's where I was like, there is no sacrifice. So if people didn't want to block, or if they had a way around it, I need them to go to the graveyard so I can do the encore bit. So that is one way, and we'll see in the Mr. Unlimited section too. There's a few more that we can add there, a little more expensive.
Right.
But Mazarek this could be a game winner. This would be your Day of Dragons, a game winner in this, because you're sacrificing those 3 tokens. Now everything that's still on the battlefield gets 3 counters on them at the end of your turn, or whenever you sacrifice things. And this is for any player. So if you have fetches in yours, you're just bumping your slivers up.
If somebody's doing treasures, it's helping you out big time.
Yeah. Or they're doing fetches as well. It's helping you out. So Mirkwood Bats makes it in here. That's what I just mentioned earlier. But you're making those 3 tokens. Let's just say, we have all 3 players or 4 players in. They're doing 3 damage, or they're losing 3 life. And then when you sacrifice them, they're losing 3 life again. So it's 6 life per encore. That can be really brutal. So already Mirkwood Bats is gonna be used a lot in a lot of decks.
That's a pretty good card.
Moldervine Reclamation. So whenever a creature control dies, so when you're sacrificing those tokens, you'll gain a life, draw a card. So that's filling up your hand. Muscle Sliver was not in here, but it's actually a relatively cheap card, giving your slivers 1/1, so we get a little bump there. Priest of Forgotten
giving
Gods.
everything +3/+3 on the encore
for sure
sounds a lot better.
Yes.
Right.
Priest of the Forgotten Gods. I wish this wasn't a tap ability. Wish it was like tapping 1 and doing this, but sacrifice 2 other creatures. So again, like you mentioned before, sacrificing those creatures to put in your graveyard can help, or sacrificing those tokens. But then any number of players each loses 2 life and sacrifice a creature. You add mana and draw a card. So there's a huge benefit to all. It's
a little bit of draw, a little bit of ramp, a little bit of removal.
Yeah.
It kind of does a lot, especially when you're creating with those encore.
Yep.
Then
we get in Skyclave Relic. This is the 3-drop mono rock. I just was getting our 3-drops in there. Smothering Abomination. I've tried to put this in so many decks, and it probably is in one deck, but this seems to actually fit pretty well in this deck in particular, because again, it has at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. So now you're putting that creature in your graveyard. You're drawing a card. Now you encore it. You make 3 of them. And then at the end of your turn, you're sacrificing them. You're drawing 3 more cards. So this is your workhorse right here. This is a good way to fill up your hand when you're doing all the sacrifice stuff. So what do you think about Smothering? You never, I know you don't like it, but you're like,
I don't love it.
Yeah.
But again, card draw is nice. And with this, you have stuff that you want the benefit of sacrificing it at the end of your turn with your sack outlets and stuff. So,
and trying to fill up get your encore stuff to happen is
Right.
another thing. So
Right.
Springleaf Drum, so that's our 1-drop kind of mono rock. I'm hoping that I have my slivers out so I can utilize them for mono there.
I'm fine with that.
Then we got Sir Conrad. So this one is whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature leaves your graveyard. So when you're exiling it, it's leaving your graveyard. Everybody or each opponent takes 1 damage. So you're sacrificing those 3. They're going to take 3 damage. You're getting rid of, you're exiling with your encore. They're taking a total of 4 damage with Sir Conrad. So this one can do.
I might have missed that. Sorry. Could you repeat that?
What do you mean? So whenever another creature dies, so when your 3 die, all your opponents will take 3 damage.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then when the card leaves the graveyard, they'll take 1 damage. So 4 total there. So this one, this goes in a lot of my decks because there is a lot of graveyard and shenanigans that go into.
I can dig it.
One that we talked about when this came out was Weatherlight Completed. So with the sacrificing the 3 of them, you're going to scry 3 times. But if you do this in 3 turns, then you're starting to draw for each one of those that you're sacrificing. And this is an artifact, 2-drop artifact. After your, is it 4 more? Yeah, 4 more. So after your second sacrifice, this will be a 5/5 flying. For a 2-drop is pretty good. And then you're drawing off of your sacks. So that will work pretty nice. And then lastly, it's in a sacrifice deck. It's Zulaport Cutthroat. Anytime you're sacrificing your creatures, they die. Each opponent loses a life, and you gain life. So you're bumping yourself up a little bit.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah. So total, all those 15 cards is 1915. So under budget.
Just squeaked in there.
Just got in there. Now let's just do the Mr. Unlimited really quick. Going to hit those up.
Mr. Unlimited.
There's
18. That's 18. Some big ones.
I know. I got a lot of them. So attrition. You're sacrificing
or
those
removal.
Little dudes. Black Market Connection. So they actually make slivers because they're shapeshifters. Coat of Arms could be your game winner because each sliver.
I don't love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to admit that. I don't like that card one bit.
Dictate of Erebos. So when you're sacrificing, everybody else is sacrificing. I really wanted to get Kindred Discovery in here, but it's too expensive for me to get it in the budget. Yep. But when those 3 tokens come in, you're drawing, and then you're drawing 3 again when they attack. So that's pretty nice. Kindred Dominance. So you choose slivers. Everything else dies. Liliana. Whenever creature control dies, you draw a card. Maskwood. Slivers. You're making more slivers. Mondrak seems pretty sweet because you're getting the double or making 6 tokens if you did the encore thing, but also you can sacrifice them to make this indestructible. So you have a little.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
If I
and then did you do Anointed Procession and Parallel Lives in there too potentially?
I didn't, but
with the doubling of tokens, but
this was kind of representing that in a way. Yeah. Phyrexian Altar, same thing as our.
I was hoping you had that there. Yeah.
As the Ashnod's Altar. Pitiless Plunderer, so when your stuff is dying, you're getting tokens. We got Sliver Hive, Legion.
The biggest miss from not being in this precon.
Yeah, it's a Sliver Hive.
What is it? Yeah, $40 now, 50. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So then you got the Sliver Legion, Overlord, Queen, the first Sliver, and then the last 2 is Sundial the Infinite, so you stop your 3 from leaving, and then they stick around for other turns and all that. And then Yawgmoth is pay 1 life, sacrifice those creatures. You don't even have to tap mana, and you're destroying stuff and drawing cards off of it. So that is everything. Whew! Just under 20 minutes. All right, we got it. Was there anything else you think that I missed in that, Larry? Is there anything you would?
I think it looks like a solid list. Hopefully, some people take your advice to give it a little bit more of a direction with the sacrifice angle and trying, because you can have a sliver list be a sliver list be a sliver list, and so finding some kind of angle to make it a little bit more unique and play differently, I think is a really good way of building a sliver deck.
For sure. Well,
so
that's
congrats on that.
The interesting thing is we rip on sliver decks in a way because there's it's like you just said, sliver deck, sliver deck. But this one doing the cuts and stuff and having a direction of the sacrifice and everything, I'm like, I could see playing this deck. Like this seems like it could be fun because it's not just they shoved, what was it, 40 some slivers, 43 slivers into the deck, and they called it a day. But if you whittle that down a little bit and have a direction with it, I think it could be a lot of fun. So, all right, that should do it for the sliver deck. Check out the other videos. Make sure you like this video, like the other ones when you get to those, and subscribe to our channel. We will catch you guys later.